morning. Go ahead, Ryan.
All right. Good morning, everybody. How are you? It's May 28th, 2024, Tuesday morning at 10:03 a.m. And this is What's Good Denver, a weekly celebration of culture and discovery and fun stuff to do in Denver for kids, couples, singles, and old timers. I'm Ryan Estes with Tom Wook Friendly Donahue and the Home Depot hot dog of podcasting, Troy Higgins. What's up, guys?
What's going on?
Dude, we had another minor viral moment. Troy, you should just go full-time TikTok, man.
Yeah, I think I got a great rundown of geographically where you can find hot dogs at Home Depots in the United States.
Dude, it would actually
Wow.
make me or nothing would make me happier than to like actually put together an interactive map as a side project and just be like where you can get Home Depot hot dogs.
HomeDepotHotDog.com, and it's just all it is a map of the United States that tells you where you can get them.
Wow.
It'd be
Did it
amazing.
did that blow up? Did the Home Depot hot dogs get it?
I think like 160 people commented on it, and it was funny because it was like so split 50-50 between people like that are like, what, like you guys don't have, like we have them here, or wherever it'd be like North Dakota or Texas or something, and then the other half is like, I've never heard of this in my life.
I had never heard of it before Ryan brought it up.
Really? Well, yeah, we sparked a little debate.
Yeah, and
Wow.
if I'm Home Depot and I'm like doing, a little bit of market research, the belovedness of the Home Depot hot dog is to be shared. Like people want to chime in. They're like, "Yo, yes. Yes, you got to get the Home Depot hot dog." And then other people are like, "What? You get hot dogs at Home Depot?"
So so when you go to the Home Depot, like the hot dog is like, is it served by like Home Depot employees, like it's a Home Depot branded hot dog? Because I've seen like the vendors in the parking lot with the little stand that are probably there without a permit or whatever, like they're not associated with Home Depot.
No, it's not Home Depot hot dog. It's definitely a third party vendor.
Okay.
And typically the stands I've seen, and in Denver, there's at least three. The one on Wadsworth being probably the most famous for their hot dog. But this is like, you got sautéed onions, you got the jumbo chips, you got your choice between hot link, Polish sausage, bratwurst, or hot dog. Like it's a legit stand. That guy's probably clearing 300K a year on that hot dog stand.
Someone in the comments broke down like the amount of money that one of the guys makes selling hot dogs. It was pretty funny. And
Wow.
I think he said the guy clears like $300 a day or something like.
Yeah. 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 I mean, it's
That
so smart because seriously, like, if you're going to Home Depot, you're spending $300 one way or the other. You're like, I just need a flathead screwdriver. Nope, $300 every single time.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're like, actually, I could use lunch. I mean, I'll just pop over there real quick. Now I've got this full sensory experience with my memory of going to Home Depot. I mean, it's brilliant. It's just it's wild that it was so polarizing that people really needed to express their local Home Depot, whether or not it had a hot dog stand. And surprisingly enough, there's a lot that do not.
Yeah, yeah. It was I was shocked when you brought it up. I was like, I have never encountered that. I was jealous. There was a lot of emotions through my mind.
People are
Oh,
in the comments, somebody said you can either have dogs in the Home Depot or hot dogs. Like that's the trade-off. Like if people are allowed to bring pets inside the store, they are not allowed to have a hot dog vendor.
Mm.
So
is that right?
that's what the TikTok comments are saying. I mean, there's a lot of good info in here, but they say that if you're in a place where you're not allowed to like bring pets into stores, it's more likely that you'll have a hot dog vendor at your Home Depot.
In that case, I wish they would put hot dog stands everywhere because people bringing their dogs into locations is getting completely out of hand.
People
Yeah.
are
Like,
getting wild. Yeah.
dude, I mean, there was a time, remember when it was like, hey, this is a service animal, and they would, go on Temu and buy the service animal sweater for their dog, and you're like, dude, man, that's a Doberman Retriever. What are you talking about? It's not a service, but all that
Just
service animal has just been like, I'm just bringing my dog everywhere now. It's
Yeah.
got to end.
You can pretty much just send an email and your dog's like a certified service animal. So
I think peak service animal was someone brought a emotional support turkey on a plane.
what?
good.
Yeah.
You
Just
can
in
bring a
case.
turkey on a plane.
Well, I mean, it's some, flying creates anxiety. And like, if the turkey is going to help you out, why wouldn't you? I mean, it's not fair to have to pay for a seat.
Right.
So, you just hold it on your lap and you let the turkey do its thing.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah.
Uh,
That makes sense. That 100% makes sense.
it's cool though. It was a great catch, Troy. That's the kind of controversy that we're here to unearth.
Mhm.
Who's got hot dogs in front of their Home Depot and why? Now we know, dogs,
Yeah,
yes, no hot dogs. So, I guess people got to make a decision for themselves,
Mm-hmm.
you
I
know.
need to get down to your Home Depot, Ryan, and try one of these dogs because I've been to Home Depot lots of times, and in New Jersey they definitely don't have Home Depot dogs.
Yeah, they're blowing it. And as a result, there's probably service turkeys wandering around
Mm-hmm.
looking for hardware.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Pay. Right. Pay.
Cool. Today's feature is tech and innovation in Denver, startups and tech hubs that are shaping the city's future. To follow the show, go to kitcaster.com/Denver and subscribe on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify. Our music, as always, is by the illustrious Troy Higgins. Our sponsor is Kitcaster, and our music is by Troy. I'll just double up because it's here twice. And much like Ron Burgundy, if it's on the page, I will say it. So let's dive into events. Tom, what do you got on tap for this week?
I got a couple fun things going on. Let me pull up my sheet here. Um, the first one I'm excited about is Danceportation event. This is happening at Meow Wolf, and they do these every once in a while. But for those of you who don't know, Meow Wolf is a big immersive art center in Denver. They have one in what is it? Is it Phoenix? No.
Santa Fe.
Santa Fe, sorry, yeah. So there's another Meow Wolf in Santa Fe. I think they have a new one in Las Vegas, but the Denver one's been open and kicking for a few years now. Every once in a while, they have shows in Meow Wolf, but there's a separate side stage area that's not in the main exhibit. And even more rare, they do one of these danceportation events, which is where they set up multiple stages throughout the actual Meow Wolf exhibit. So this is going to be that as the Jay Wara takeover. Shout out to Jay Wara. Ended up having some drinks with her the other night because we have a mutual friend. So I'm definitely going to go check it out and support um, Jay Wara's event there. And yeah, it just looks really cool. I've never been to one of their danceportation events where you actually have stages in the main exhibit. So that's going to be cool. Go over there and listen to some house music in
Cool.
whatever, I guess, universe you want, because in Meow Wolf, every time you open a door, it's a new universe in there.
Nice.
Next
I've been
thing,
to
oh yeah,
I've
go
been
ahead, Troy.
I've been to the Meow Wolf in Las Vegas. Is it kind of like the same setup in Denver?
It's always local artists, so no Meow Wolf is the same. Like it'll be completely different in each one. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it's the same general idea, I'm pretty sure, where you're just going through this kind of immersive maze of art and cool rooms and experiences. So it's definitely fun. You can easily get lost in there. It's like never-ending labyrinth of craziness every time you open a new door. It's just a completely unrelated thing from the last room that you were in. So it's
That's
cool.
cool. That's cool. Do they have like the fake like convenience store shop?
They definitely have some shops. I don't know. There's lots of like fake stores in there. Um, they have like an actual gift shop in there too, but there is like a whole Main Street section in this one, which is like one of the. It's like the first place that you land in. and they have like little shops and bodegas and like hair and nail salons and stuff. It's cool in there. I'm surprised we haven't talked anything about Meow Wolf so far, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of like a I mean, you could do it once, twice, and be good, especially if you're a Denver local. But I mean, if you have people coming in to visit, it's definitely a cool thing to show them around at and check it out. And these dance portation events that they do too, I've been really excited to check one out because it's a perfect place to have a mini music festival. You know what I'm saying? Like a couple different stages, and those exhibits would be really cool.
Yeah, their story is just unbelievable. Troy, the museum they built in Denver is, I guess, they're very, everything's very thoughtful with them. Now, Meow Wolf as like a theme is just not for me. It's just the overwhelm. I'm more of a tranquil kind of guy. But the where they built it in Denver, it's like there's like Colfax Viaduct and then there's I-25. So basically they used this space that was completely dead in the middle of like all of these highways that go by. So nothing else could have existed there. So on one side, they're utilizing like unused spaces, which is cool. But plus, I think they got the land for a song, so they're able to go big there. It's super cool. I talked to there was a documentary about Meow Wolf, and I interviewed the filmmakers that were also part of kind of the inception of the whole thing. Just a really cool story. For folks that don't know, Meow Wolf was funded from just a bunch of like stoner artists. I mean that the best kind of way, in Santa Fe, that bought a bowling alley and wanted to turn it into this like kind of a multi-sensory exhibit. And it was funded by the guy that wrote Game of Thrones, if I remember correctly. What's his name?
George R. R. Martin.
Yeah. Yeah. These artists, kind of starving artists, went to him, looking for a gigantic check, a couple $1,000,000. And we're like, hey man, we got this bowling alley, we want to do some cool stuff. And he's like, all right, man, I got HBO money. Let's do it. And it just blew up.
Oh,
So cool.
That's wild. That's awesome.
Yeah.
that is really cool. I didn't know George R. R. Martin was part of the force behind Meow Wolf. That's very interesting. I saw him
Yeah.
at one of the best pizza places in Staten Island, Danino's. He was just hanging there, talking it up about his Game of Thrones experience and traveling the world and sourcing the actors for the HBO show and stuff. He's a cool dude. Um,
Super cool, man. The coolest. He's just the kind of guy that you want to become famous because you can tell he was just riding away,
in his own
blew up.
world, right in a way.
Yeah.
That's wild. All right. We've gone pretty far without talking about any yoga events. So this one just really jumped out and I had to bring it up. So everyone knows that June is Pride Month. So any of the event websites, you'll see a bunch of Pride kickoff parties happening this weekend since June 1st is right around the corner. And this one just takes the cake. We have, let me show everybody here. We've got goats in drag yoga. Okay. So if you didn't if you didn't think goat yoga was good enough, we have goats in drag yoga, a goat
Oh my
infused
God.
pride kickoff party. Um, they are going to have a 45-minute drag goat yoga session and a 15-minute decompression session for the goats and the guests. Um, and yeah, it's going to be over at Beacon from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. on June 1st, which I think is Friday, right?
Oh,
Goats in drag. The
Dude,
image here is amazing. I mean, these goats are gonna
it's
be.
also computer generated. I'm scouring now. I need to see what this looks like. This seems like this might be right up my alley right here, actually.
are
I mean,
the goats are actually dressed in drag, where the humans are dressed in drag,
the
or everyone?
goats probably. I would guess that everyone is gonna be dressed in drag, but definitely the goats will be dressed in drag. So hold on, let me see what it says here. Um, We're transforming the club into a playground of glitter and glamour as our adorable goat stars strut their stuff in fabulous drag attire. That's right, boy goats will be donning dresses and serving looks that'll make you gasp while you do yoga.
Nice.
Denver Goat Yoga. Also, I mean, there are this is Rocky Mountain Goat Yoga. There's about 4 or 5 goat yogas that I saw this weekend alone. Like, these goats must be living a lavish life. I hope that
Dude,
they're
dude,
getting all of the treats and snacks and foods and like wrappers off of metal cans that they want because these goats are are working.
they're working hard. I mean, how are they going to prevent the goats from eating the feather boas?
I don't know. See, like
You know?
maybe they maybe they are trained to you know, deal with their costumes, their drag and stuff like that, but I'm interested to see how long these drag outfits last on the goats, especially with,
Yeah.
all that action going on, all that yoga.
That is so much fun. We're talking about tech and innovation. You know what I mean? Like Pride is humongous. Pride Festival in Denver is gigantic. One of the best and biggest in the country. And this is how they're pushing the edge. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Goat yoga for Pride Week? Oh man, let's step it up a notch. Are we even trying? What are these goats wearing? Well, they're obviously in drag. Let's go.
Yes, exactly. There's a bunch of drag brunches and stuff as well, but
Uh,
why even waste time when you could see the goat drag?
I'm
Um,
saying
but now
it's
there's going to be lots of pride events going on these next few weeks, so keep those on the radar. And then Red Rocks tonight, Maggie Rogers. She was also there last night. And Maggie Rogers and the Japanese House. The Japanese House is pretty popular right now too, although I don't know too much about them. Um, Wednesday and Thursday, Lord Huron in Clover County. Okay. Friday, Michael Franti and Spearhead. Also, before that, you can do Michael Franti's Yoga Jam at 4:15 p.m. So he's going to be doing a little set beforehand for some yoga, and then the main show 7 p.m. with Spearhead and Ripe. Saturday, Yoga on the Rocks. This is the like legit one, presented by White Claw Hard Seltzers.
that
Get
was
some white.
the one they rescheduled, right?
They do. They once it gets like well into the season, they start doing it like every week.
Week, yeah. Okay.
So Yoga on the Rocks is the real one. This I think it looks like this one's run by the River Yoga. So I don't know, maybe they allow some of the different studios to run it each time. But Saturday, 7 a.m. Got to get there bright and early. Um, Saturday, 7:30 p.m. Joe Russo's Almost Dead tour with very special guest Branford Marsalis. Okay.
Nice.
Sunday, 8 p.m. an evening with James Taylor and his all-star band. Doesn't that sound exciting? That's also going to be Monday as well. James Taylor got double booked at Red Rocks this week. So
Nice.
that's all we
Nice.
got until next Tuesday. Um,
You guys know too much about Michael Franti?
No.
no.
He's dope, man. He's a really nice guy. He played hoop at Georgetown with like Patrick Ewing and those guys back in that era.
Oh
So
wow.
he's tall. He can actually really ball back in the day. But he had a group called Disposable Heroes of Hip Hoprisy that was super dope, backpack kind of boom bap style rap. And then he kind of went solo. And he was like one of the first guys that like did like live band. It was kind of like when the Roots, I think probably like 94, 95, when Do You Want More came out by the Roots. And there was this kind of movement of like hip hop going to live instrumentation, you know, which it resulted in new metal and Limp Bizkit. But some of us thought they're like, oh man, they're going to be blending genres. It's going to be sick. And no disrespect to Limp Bizkit, but he went the other way. He went kind of more hippie, yoga, vegan. But I've run into him on several occasions. It's just a really sweet guy. I love that guy. Shout out to Michael Franti.
Cool. Yeah, it says here he's 6'6", so I think
Yeah,
he probably Probably was pretty good at basketball if he was playing with Patrick Ewing.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Baller.
Okay. Cool. I got a couple events coming up. This one I am going to, which is the Outside Festival. I don't know if I mentioned it last week. I may have, but looks like a super sick music festival right downtown Denver in the Civic Center. Oh yeah, we did talk about that a little bit. It's got I'm going on Friday, which is Thundercat. Thundercats playing. I'm trying to pull up the lineup here, but I think there's still tickets. They're like $60. So I bought some for the whole squad, and I was working on the Estes fleet this weekend, patching up tires and getting everything going. So we're gonna ride our bikes down there and check that out. But yeah, Saturday is Thundercat, lettuce, she, mochachets. Is that
Nice.
how you pronounce it? Rich Cacao, and then Sunday is Fleet Foxes and Andrew Bird. And I'll go Sunday too. I have heard Andrew Bird's got a new record out, but I haven't heard it yet. Maybe I'll check that out and see what's up with that. But that looks like it's going to be really cool. We've got and next to that is Outside Festival, I think it's $60-$70, something like that for tickets. But right outside of that is the Big Gear Show. If you're in Colorado and you're not paying for a storage facility for just your gear, are you really in Colorado? I mean, that's the question. So we all need more gear, and whatever you're looking at this summer, Ozzo and I were looking at drift boats, which is just dangerous. I don't need to be spending money on drift boats, but man, I could imagine that drift boat life. You know what I mean? Getting into a little bit bigger waters, a little bit bigger fish. Anyway, that sounds like fun. So I'm sure I'll hit that up. The Big Gear Show right outside during the Outside Festival. The Chalk Art Festival is going on in the Golden Triangle this weekend. Those are always really cool, especially for kids, because kids, it's on their level for one, but also they always do the like cool kind of optical illusions where you can take the picture and it looks like you're walking off a cliff. Plus it's kind of the mediums that kids are used to. Like all kids have sidewalk chalk. And the fidelity and like the skill of some of these folks. I think they bring in like touring people because some stuff is just absolutely next level and they pay for it. You know what I mean? Like I personally like an art form that draws blood. You know what I mean? You want to make sure someone's like suffering. Digital art, whatever. Like I want to see someone on their hands and knees, like their elbows and wrists slowly degrading and their posture, and they're getting sunburn, all for the enjoyment of us and our children. And you get that at Denver Chalk Festival. And then the other one I want to mention is Indie Retail Fest, which is, I think, Saturday, or is it all weekend? And it's up on Tennyson. So Tennyson has just like a whole bunch of, it's got great everything. It's got Post Barbecue for one, which is probably one of the best BBQ spots in the state. But it also has really cool retailers, particularly for dudes. Farrell is down there. We talked about Farrell in the past, which is probably the best place to get secondhand used gear. They got a bunch of cool stuff, and the Berkeley Supply Company is down there, which is basically if you want to spend, $2,000 looking like a legit lumberjack, that's where you do it. You get your Red Wing shoes down there. You get your your blue jeans that are like a half-inch thick. You get your Filson, hoodie that costs $300. It is the pinnacle of menswear down there. You can get your Pendleton shirts down there. You can get all your stuff down there. So I'll be really interested to see. And, I think one thing that I really like about Tennyson is they do such a good job in like supporting their vendors in their street right there. There are just like so many independent restaurants and retailers. And I feel like they've done a good job of kind of boxing out large retail chains and also just like encouraging folks to go down there and shop. They do things like, what's the thing on you have Black Friday and then you have like small business Saturday, something like that. Most of the shops shut down on Black Friday, which I'm always like, well, I appreciate the punk rock of that, but also, I mean, we're here and I would love to go to these stores.
Yeah.
But they're really fiercely like, hey, this is our terrain. We want to create shopping experiences that are awesome, When Ozzo and I were at looking at these drift boats, we were at Bass Pro Shop, and you can kind of see what's happened to big box retailers. They've kind of like lost the shimmer, you
Mhm.
know, because honestly, we buy half the stuff online now anyway. So these retailers are really they're focusing and specializing on creating a very unique and specific shopping experience for people, which I think is the future of retail. People are always going to want to go and get someone's help making a decision on stuff. And I think that the folks on Tennyson are really kind of leading the charge on that. So that's also Saturday. That's everything I got. Why don't we go into highlights and then we'll get to our feature. Troy, what was your highlight from last week?
Yeah, so just the long weekend, relaxing. I went and checked out a park near my house called Silver Lake Meadows with my lovely girlfriend Belen, and we just set up a picnic blanket. It was like it'd been cloudy and overcast here in LA for about 3 days. It was like the first day the sun poked out a little bit. It was like 70, pretty hot yesterday. It was like 76. Just laid out on the blanket. It's like this cool park overlooking the Silver Lake Reservoir, which is this big body of water, like kind of East LA-ish area, and it was it was beautiful. It was a great day. I was had a little cold over the weekend, so it felt good to kind of get outside, get some sun. Definitely much needed. Um, what else did I do? Oh, I watched this. I watched a documentary on the Tony Hawk Pro Skater games. Have you guys seen that documentary?
I don't think so.
Was
It was
it?
pretty cool.
Oh, it was just about the games, not Tony Hawk.
It was about just the game, the Tony Hawk Pro Skater games, and it was cool. It was like a definitely nostalgic blast from the past. I think we all played those games growing up, and it kind of talked about how uh, like they had a bigger impact culturally for skateboarding beyond the video game, and it kind of put skateboarding on the map and propelled it into what it is today is this mainstream widespread sport, and it created all these different jobs and personas and different figures in skating like that are recognized worldwide. It was really cool. I'd recommend checking it out. It was especially if you played the games.
Is that streaming?
Yeah, it was on Amazon Prime.
Cool.
Yeah, I forget what it was called exactly. If you just look up Tony Hawk Pro Skater, you'll find it. Uh,
Dude,
yeah,
I I didn't let myself have a gaming system until like 4 years ago because of Tony Hawk, dude. I
Oh,
so many times I'd be playing and look out the window and like the sun was rising and I was like, oh my God, I've done it again. I played Tony Hawk all night.
on
oh,
the original one, the like the first ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, they talk about how like the first ones just had some sort of magic behind them, and they actually started a new genre of video games, which was like the extreme sports gaming. Like after those games, they started coming out with like the BMX ones, snowboarding, surfing, all that kind of stuff. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it
so
was like
cool.
multi-layered. I think that's what I liked about it. Is like you could find lines where you're like grinding down like the power lines like through the whole, so
Hmm.
fun.
Yeah, yeah. It was a there's a part of the documentary where I guess Neversoft, the company that put him on, offered Tony Hawk when they made the first game, they offered him 500 grand to opt out of all like future royalties, and he turned it down, which I guess was the best business decision he'd ever made in his life because the amount he received on royalties throughout the longevity of that game was just he's set for life because of the video game.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. Yeah, I'd recommend checking it out though. It was a good watch.
Cool. Nice. Tom, how about you? What's highlight?
I hit up the Red Rocks concert, Subtronics, and Tape B amongst some additional openers, but that was really fun. I hadn't been to a Red Rocks show since probably the beginning of last season. So it was good to get up there. Really beautiful day, full moon. It's nice when you got the moon rising as the headliner comes on, and it was a huge moon this weekend. I don't know if anybody saw that, but Tape B was super sick, and Subtronics is always uh, there with the bass, so it was a good one.
How was
Nice.
the Red Rocks courtesy? Were people moved to the front of the step?
Oh, just perfect. Whatever you wanted. People were standing wherever they wanted. There was nobody who had to stay on the sides because there wasn't enough room inside. Just absolutely a world's difference from the new age rock concert to the bass concert at Red Rocks.
Nice.
So the etiquette is more like generally understood at the bass and electronic events opposed to like the other concerts. It seems like.
Yeah, and I think those people are just more comfortable. I mean, they're dancing way more at the dance concerts, and I think they're just more comfortable being closer to their friends and other people and stuff. So it just makes it easier. Like there's plenty of space to be shared at Red Rocks. You don't have to be single file, like blocking out big sections for no reason, like
Yeah,
at the other shows.
sure. What is like the main like how it what is the main dance style to Subtronics? That would be like headbanging pretty much, right?
There's definitely a lot of head banging there. Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much is head banging almost the whole time. But no, they do like more slowed down like bass remix and stuff. Like Tape B is more just like head nodding, and I guess you could dance a little more to Tape B. It's not like the crazy head banging stuff.
Okay.
But
Okay.
it's it's a sight to see when you see 10,000 people headbanging in unison at Red Rocks. It's like no other, honestly.
Yeah. That sounds cool. I'll have to check that out one day. One day.
One day.
Yeah. The bass heads know the etiquette because it's like their church, you know. So
They
they got
they
it
go to
down.
Red Rocks weekly because there's so
Yeah.
many bass concerts. Seems like Tape B and Subtronics shut down bass for the week though. There's no bass this weekend, so
Yeah. Really what some of these bass guys should do is go to James Taylor and just kind of check on people and just let people know the proper etiquette. You know, I appreciate that
mm,
because it's like if I go to like a Catholic mass, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, this is cool. There's all this stuff going on, but I don't know what to do. You got to do the crossing, and there's like holy water, and there's candles. Like, there's all kinds of stuff that you should know, but you don't. But if there's
yeah.
just like a nice bishop who's like, here's what you do, you're like, oh, thanks. The bass guys are the bishops of Red Rocks.
That's a great analogy.
I agree. I tend to agree. I'm not sure how much like the Christian rock and like family type concerts, how responsive they would be to like a dreaded like long hair like drug rug type dude trying to tell them where to stand and what to do at their concert.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, mommy, who's that?
Maybe rather than them go to the rock concert, the family should go to the Subtronics concert, and then
Mm,
maybe they can learn that way. So rather than
Immersion.
told, yeah, they're immersed into the etiquette.
yeah, you know what? That might be a better plan. I think we can make that happen.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that dovetails into my highlight a little bit. I went to the Boulder Creek Festival, but kind of stumbled into it, and there was a drug rug Wook type character that asked me for a hug, which was weird. It made me feel like, why me? And I was like, nah, dude. I was like, nah, I'm
I don't
good.
like that.
Good.
Made a comment about my jacket, which I was like, oh, thank you very much. And he's like, can I get a hug? And I was like, nah.
Nah, my bad.
It depends on like the sanitary level of the person, I think,
Yeah,
for me.
yeah. He was very large and had a cool jean jacket on, but it had a lot of points of flare, like many pins and buttons.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? Where it's like that's like they're like it's like their uniform, but also their armor, and also, I don't know. He seemed like a nice guy. I'm just not a big hug guy,
Mm-hmm.
strangers. And like also like, dude, why are you asking me? There's like thousands of people here. That's weird. But I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe I was projecting hugging energy, but I didn't reflect it. So but Boulder Creek was awesome. It was, and where I saw that dude was right by, they had this skate demonstration right there. And speaking of Tony Hawk was spotted in Denver last week at Denver Skate Park.
Oh,
I
nice.
saw
There's
that. Yeah, I saw he was
yeah,
out there shredding.
yeah, and it turns out that like his son graduated from CU Boulder, so
The way.
um,
Okay.
Boulder Creek Festival is right on the Boulder Creek, obviously, kind of right off Pearl Street Mall. And it's something that we used to take the kids to all the time because it's a really fun time. There's music and food vendors, and there's jewelry vendors. The one thing they didn't have that I was hoping was those styrofoam lizards that are on a little wire, and you can walk around acting like you're like have a lizard on a wire. That's no longer popular. They don't have those, but I used to love those things. So we just had the opportunity. We were all together, and we're like, oh, let's just go up to Boulder. We like to go to the kite shop up there on the mall. And so I was like looking around, and I was like, dude, this is kind of uncannily busy today. I was like, oh, wait, it's Memorial Day weekend. It's Boulder Creek. So we didn't even know it was kind of going on. So we just kind of got to go explore it like that, which was really fun. And I've been talking to my kids a lot about kind of what's unique to our family and stuff. And this kind of ties into it, which is like when I was a kid, it was a big deal that you had quality time. You spent quality time. And so what happens is you schedule this quality time and it becomes unbelievably stressful and a complete disaster. You spend quality and like, and what I realize is like, what I really like is garbage time. That's the most quality family time you got, which is like, it's 11:30, you're all tired. Somebody sneaks downstairs to eat a bowl of ice cream. You catch them, you just go hang out in the backyard and just chop it up for 20, 30 minutes. Just garbage time is what it's really all about.
Mhm.
So when you're able to do things spontaneously, like, oh, let's go to Boulder, it's just the best because then there's no expectations, there's no agenda. It's just like, oh, let's go over there. So we, kind of just meandered through the Boulder Creek Festival and got to watch the skaters, and it was awesome. They've really learned how to do it right. Although quite a few more fences, like they had like all these like it's like 4 different areas were all fenced in as opposed to in the past where you could kind of like just wander through everything.
Mhm.
But because it doesn't follow a grid or anything, I could kind of see why they put the fencing there. But it was good. And everyone was super chill. I mean, if we're talking about etiquette, there was this guy that was on like a stand-up paddleboard that he had motorized with a skateboard, and he's trying to drive this thing around. And it's like, dude, that stand-up paddleboard skateboard is cool as hell. It really is. But do you need those eyeballs on you right here, right now, when people are trying to get through this small corridor?
Mm.
That's my rant for the day.
There's always one of those guys. Some guy on some motorized something riding through in the front of everyone so they can look at his shiny
Yeah.
device.
Look at me. It's like, come on, man. Just walk, dude.
Hmm.
What's happening?
Yeah.
But other than that, it was extraordinary. It was
He's
great.
the guy who tried to hug you.
No, separate incidents.
Oh, to a different incident. Okay.
Yeah.
All
The
right.
hugging guy. I don't know. Maybe he just had kind of stabby energy because it was like him and like all the other guys with black, jean jackets with pins on it. They probably had like a dope band or something.
Hmm.
But, you know, I
Yeah.
wasn't really in the mood for that. But these skaters were getting after it. It was sponsored by 303 Boards. Shout out to those Colfax guys. And there was probably like 20 or 30 dudes, and it was just like boom, boom, boom. There's they had like a rail that was probably about 5 feet, and then a little hitter up to the rail, and they were just like hitting it, hitting it, hitting it, hitting it. It was cool, man.
Nice.
They
That's
were
cool.
going, yeah, they were going hard. They must have had some kind of cash prize or something. The way these guys were like putting in extra, it was cool.
Nice.
Nice. Let's take it to our feature, which I thought was a great feature, Troy. I love it. And we're going to be talking about a little bit tech and innovation in Denver, and we'll extend that to the northern campus as well, Boulder, because there's a lot of innovation coming out of Boulder, and Fort Collins, of course, has a great startup scene too. But Denver Boulder has really come together probably in the last 10 or 15 years to really put uh, put a group together, put a characteristic of Denver founders. Now, one thing tech founders is insanely hard. It is insanely hard and scary and taxing, and there's so many resources you need, both like capital plus emotional plus um you need help and support. And I think that's where Denver's really like created a good identity for itself. It's like creating connections and communication of what it is to be kind of in Denver in particular. Denver, of course, is a huge hub of tech startups, and Boulder as well. But Boulder also has a lot in defense. It has a lot in space exploration. It has a lot in natural foods. The natural foods kind of industry, as far as like startups in Denver and Boulder, is second only to Southern California. So you find a lot of food products coming out of Denver and Boulder, which probably is no surprise. So kind of what I put together is some of the kind of groups and events that I find really supports people of getting out there and trying, because the first step of suffering is to put yourself in harm's way. But also that's where the magic happens. So the first one I've got picked out is Denver Startup Week, and we featured that before. That is a week, maybe pushing a week and a half. I believe it's in September, which is basically the world's largest startup event that's free. That you can go as a seasoned entrepreneur with multiple exits, or somebody who's a student, or somebody who's just considering things. And there are whole sequences of events and speeches that you can listen to completely for free. I've done probably, I don't know, a half a dozen speeches for Denver Startup Week. Probably the most popular one I did was on universal basic income, which I look back on it now, it's like, well, maybe we're heading in that direction a little bit more than I thought at the time. But Denver Startup Week is fantastic. Basically, everything you need as a founder, coming from a very holistic angle. I think the other thing that is kind of intimidating by startup culture in general is that it's kind of insular, especially what's coming out of Silicon Valley, and it can feel like a Stanford club. Like you got to have the right credentials, and you got to have this, and you got to have that. But Denver Startup Week is all ages, all demographics, all resources. I mean, it's just people that are hungry and hustlers, and those are the people that persevere. The people that are left standing are the people that find success. So shout out to Denver Startup Week. The other thing I have put together is another group called coloradostartups.org. And this largely is an events organization, but also an investment pool, basically where accredited investors can basically be presented with their fund and invest in Colorado startups, which also I think is super cool. And they provide resources both for Denver Startup Week, and shout out to Party on a Tuesday. They do that, but then they have kind of like this great resource that's it's called the Leaderboard, where you can kind of keep an eye on through just a Google spreadsheet of like where people are at with revenue, where people are at with funding, who's leading the funding rounds, how many employees they've got, what else do they got on here, the industry, and just kind of see what people are doing. I know particularly in tech right now, that kind of there's been 80,000 layoffs in the last 12 months, and people are scrambling to find jobs and find ways into companies. This might be a cool side door for people, particularly that live in Denver, Boulder, particularly as like kind of, work from home is seeing as less desirable. Like people are going back to the office. Well, here's a whole bunch of Denver companies that are probably some of the biggest tech companies in the state, where you can go and kind of vet and see what they're up to, and see who's finding success, and see who's hiring and things like that. Might be a cool side door. So shout out to Colorado Startups. That's Paul Foley's organization, and shout out to him. Love that guy, very strong. They also have a group on Facebook, I know, and they have a LinkedIn group that has various levels of engagement there, depending on the season, and the questions that go through there. Definitely worth checking out, though. And that's what I've got for my feature. Tom, how about you, buddy?
Nice. I'm also going to highlight a similar type of resource, Built in Colorado. So Built in is like a umbrella organization. They have these for a lot of different main metro areas around the country, but Built in Colorado is our one, and essentially it's a job board, a news resource. You could find out a lot of cool information about the companies that are not only started but are headquartered here and are working around Colorado, specifically within tech and the startup scene. So just showing everybody what it looks like right now. You can look at available jobs in startups and tech around. They're specifically really focused on Denver and Boulder, but anywhere in the surrounding, Denver areas, you can do that. You can see a list of companies to follow. You can look at strictly remote jobs that people in Colorado are able to do. You can compare salaries between other jobs, and then yeah, they just have a huge blog with all local tech and startup stories around our area. So it's one cool place to check out what's going on. And
It
then
looks like it it looks like you can actually like apply directly through the website too. Like it doesn't take you to a third party platform like ZipRecruiter or LinkedIn or whatever, which is cool.
yeah,
Um,
that is pretty cool. Yeah, I've been on there before. You can build a profile on their website just like you would on like LinkedIn or something else. Um, and yeah, the people are actually, or the companies are actually listing their jobs on here. Um, and it's nice because they're the ones providing the information. It's not like sometimes on LinkedIn, you're not really sure about all the info. It might be different once you actually get to the right site that you're getting to or you're trying to apply on. So um,
mhm,
it's cool. It's usually pretty accurate on there. And like I said, it's
cool.
direct to the people that you want to get to. So that's nice. Um,
And I think that's how they keep the lights on, as that recruiters pay them for talent going through there. So I mean, Built in Colorado is a great resource. So if you are like, definitely submit job applications through there because that helps them pay the bills.
Definitely. So yeah, they have the other tech hubs built in Austin, built in Boston, built in Chicago, LA, New York, San Francisco, Seattle. Those are some of the main ones. And then there's a lot of additional ones too. And then outside of that, I just had a cool list of the biggest startups, best startups in Denver to follow, put up by startupsavant.com. So some of these are bigger than startup in my mind. But they're getting anyone I think who's founded within like the last 5 or so years, considering them a startup. um,
Yeah, totally.
but
I saw Stack Infrastructure, which looks like the number one
yeah,
company on that leaderboard that Ryan pulled from the Colorado Startups website.
hmm
2.5 billion funding. That seems
yeah,
more than yeah,
Just a
two,
scrappy little startup.
yeah,
running out of the garage.
over
Yeah.
2.5 billion in funding at Stack Infrastructure. They might be getting past that startup level. Even Guild Education here, they're on Series F,
Wow.
643.2 million. I mean, how many fundraising rounds do you need? But looks like they're doing good. Guild Education and marketed towards businesses that are looking to attract and retain employees by offering continual education classes. Okay, cool. Strive
Series F.
Health.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Series F is
I don't know
deep
if
in
I've
there.
ever heard of that.
There's a lot of health and like medical focused things around. This one was cool. Last Game Board, gaming industry, um, integrated in the in-person and online gaming experience by creating tabletop games that merge digital and analog experiences. So it's essentially like a digital like game board. I'm pretty sure. This is
Cool.
a true startup right here. They got,
Yeah.
7 million in funding on a convertible note. Okay. Um, I don't think it's not for sale yet. You got to join the wait list. But yeah, I think that's a cool one, like cool digital game board. They're trying to create the last game board.
Level up
So,
your game nights with Game Board. It's like a big iPad for games.
oh,
That's cool.
are you seeing it? Are you seeing it? I'm trying to.
Yeah, on their website, it's like a actual piece of analog hardware you're using to play the board game.
Yes. Very
So I
cool.
wonder if you could play online capabilities with someone else using the physical game board.
I
It's kind of cool.
bet you can. I bet you can. Game board specs, 22-inch playable touchscreen. Oh yeah. Yeah, it looks really cool. And it looks like it also can integrate with some like movable pieces and stuff. Um, definitely, definitely looking pretty sweet. And yeah, so the other stuff, we got a lot of health focused stuff, interior design firms, some cannabis firms, um, even some data centers are working pretty well around here. Um, but yeah, couple really cool companies on that list. So shout out to those top startups to watch in Denver.
Vantage data centers, 10.8 billion in debt financing. You imagine taking a loan for $10 billion?
No,
Wow, that is
Oh,
that is wild. But you got to pay for all those computers somehow. But I don't know what you could possibly need for 10.8 billion. Also founded in 2010. This is not a startup. They must have multiple data center locations. Like, there's no way it's just one data center in Colorado.
yeah. Well, if they're building the CPU chips for that NVIDIA is doing, they probably did pretty well with that $10 billion loan.
They
mhm.
they build data centers for other people, it looks like. I mean, I'm sure they
Smart.
manage their own too, but they provide customized data center solutions for any business need.
Cool.
Cool.
Nice. I love it, man. This is a good one. Tech and innovation, Tech is one spot of innovation, but Denver is also like just a home to so much other innovation, whether it's food or it is actually gear too. There's like cool gear startup shows. I'm always interested in those. I saw this company got acquired. It was a really, really top of the line, like fishing line nipper. It's like $100 fishing nipper. I was like, God
Wow.
dang. And I think they sold the company for like 5 million or something. I'm like, wow, dude.
That's cool.
Nice.
Cool.
That's really
But
cool.
yeah, hardware, I mean, Donahue's really the tip of the spear's innovation too of merging fishing and golf. That this still needs to come to fruition.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You know,
we discovered the issues. Now it's just about the engineering to solve those issues, but
exactly.
I
it's
saw
doable.
a video of someone doing fishing golf on Sports Center on Instagram.
Really?
Yeah, I think I sent it, Tom. I sent it to you, right?
I don't know. I don't remember, Troy.
I
Did
think
you
I
send
sent
it?
it to you on Instagram, and these these guys might have been listening to our podcast. They might have bit your idea.
Oh my. Let's see. Should have never said anything about it.
It was different though. It wasn't. It was like a different mechanic. I don't remember exactly, but it wasn't exactly the way that you guys
Oh
just.
yeah, they're just doing it. They're doing it to practice their drives. So they're just reeling the ball back in and then
Oh,
hitting
they're
it
not
again.
actually fishing.
They're not going for fish, no.
Okay. Okay. So yeah. Okay. Never mind. We're still.
They're, they're almost there. There's just a half a step. What'll happen is they'll be reeling in the ball, and then they'll see like a big bass come and sniff the ball, and they're like, "Wait a minute,
Wait.
what are we doing right now? We're fishing and golfing all at the same time."
Yeah.
Oh,
And
Yeah.
then they'll have to address the same issues we've found and
yeah.
try to figure out how to keep a worm attached to a hook when you hit it at 180 miles per hour.
Uh, yeah.
I think that it just needs another step of innovation, which I believe is like bow fishing. I don't know if you've ever done that. So imagine you have the club, you hit it out there, you reel it in, and then when the fish is getting curious, then it's right there. Thunk, then you shoot it with the bow. See,
True, true. Yeah, that is a good idea too. We got to
then
consider
basically
these.
it's it's like Transformers of like, you know, recreation, just whatever you want. It's all this one piece of hardware.
God,
I
that's
yeah.
cool.
I need to see this fishing golf company on this top Denver startup list this
Yeah,
time. This time next
totally.
year.
Series F, $10
Yep.
billion valuation.
Yep. That's what I'm optimistic.
Golf ball creation centers.
It's AI golf ball fishing bows. That's how we do it.
Speaking of tech and innovation, did you guys see the Chat GPT 4.0 update, the Omni?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff there. The uh, ability to understand visuals and images, and it's pretty groundbreaking stuff. It's exciting.
You've been playing with it at all?
I played with it a little bit. I actually don't have the subscription for ChatGPT, so I was just doing like the free trial. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool. It's
Yeah.
it's insane. It's like crazy. The I saw like a demo where they it's helping out with a math problem, and you can through video just watching the handwritten math problem and guiding. It's like a algebra or calculus equation or something. I forget what it was. And yeah, it's just like guiding the guy along like through his handwritten math homework. It's pretty wild. Just
Wow.
yeah, and I would recommend checking it out. But the whole analyzation of images and video is just like that alone is just opening a whole new thing for the AI space. It's gonna be wild.
Dude, it's wild. I'm not a big subscription guy, but I think it's probably worth getting the 4.0 subscription.
Mm-hmm.
Like the iPhone app is you can just talk to it.
Mm-hmm.
It has this weird question that I wasn't comfortable with. It basically wants to take like screen grabs of everything you do on your computer, and then it can see what you're doing and make recommendations. And I mean, we'll be there, but I just get a creepy feeling from Sam Altman. So I'm just like, nah, I'm not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't enable that. But on the phone, this is what I've been doing is I've been creating different characters of people that I want to talk to and answer different questions. So what I'll do, I'll be like, okay, I want to create attributes of a person I can talk to, and the person is called Jack. And Jack is an expert in Tibetan Buddhism, and he likes fly fishing. And he also has a history in indigenous religious ceremony. And so if I ask Jack a question, I want him to come from that perspective and talk to me in a tone like Kurt Vonnegut, which is kind of stoic, but also funny. And it's like, okay, let me know if you want any other attributes for Jack. And I'm like, whoa. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, if I talk to Steve, these are the attributes I want for Steve. I want him to be hyper aggressive and positive and enthusiastic and encouraging. And you start giving all these people things. So then if I have a question, I'm like, I'd like to talk to Steve. What should I do about blah, 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 blah? And it has personalities.
Yeah, that's wild. It's already at the point where you can train it on anyone's personality, I think. Like to pretty much replicate a person
Yeah,
if you
it's
have enough data.
totally. When I would go toggling through, I was like, okay, now answer me like Chuck Palahniuk. Okay, now answer me like Jack Kerouac. Okay, answer me like Sam Harris. And there's all this just like very subtle color that it puts onto it,
Mhm.
and that's happening now, so it's like, I don't know, man, it's so wild. It's like honestly really freaking me out, but I figure like you got to be on the front end of it. So I'm just like, any creative ideas I've got, I'm going to run it through these things and just see what I can do with this. What's the capacity of this even,
Yeah, yeah. I was doing the thing where I did like the little test where I sent a picture of myself and I was like getting ready for bed. I had like messy hair and like pajamas on. And I was like, do I look ready for a job interview? And it was like, I'd recommend fixing your hair and putting on a collared shirt. And it was
So
basically roasting me, but it was just like, wow, this is wild.
surprised it didn't start with like a compliment. Be like, oh, Troy, you're so handsome. But if you were, I mean, a new shirt
It,
wouldn't be a bad idea.
it
Yeah.
did. I was smiling and it was like I appreciate the enthusiasm and the positive attitude will go a long way in your interview. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, man. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, it's getting wild. You should check out the teaching demo if you haven't seen it though. It really
Okay.
makes you kind of question like where education is going.
Yeah,
It's gonna be interesting.
it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice episode. Thanks for the topic, Troy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
no
was
way.
fantastic. And if anybody wants to reach out and create a searchable database of do you have a hot dog at your Home Depot, I'm in to work on that project. That sounds like fun to me. So hit me up. And you can find the podcast at kitcaster.com/Denver, where you can subscribe to everything. And you can let me know if you want to work on this project, because I think what we found is that people are very interested in sharing their experiences with hot dogs in Home Depot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
HomeDepotHotDogs.com. That's gonna be a thing.
Nice. Shout
Costco
out to
hot
Kit Kat.
dogs going down.
Yeah. Nice. Shout out to kitcaster.com for sponsoring the show as always. And that's a wrap. Thanks, guys.
Later.